Hey guys, this is a bit of a weird format for this channel because I usually don't do vlogs. I usually just do the music thing and that's about it. And even the music thing I don't do as much as I probably should. So I thought I might cue you in some things that have been happening in my life recently, maybe explain why I have started uploading again. I know it's only one video so far, and that was around Christmas last year, so it's almost a year ago. Oh my god, I'm really bad at this. You might understand why I'm so bad at this in just a few seconds. So basically, for the last 5 years, I did push the big pause button on making music in general. I didn't write anything myself anymore. I did gigs either alone or with friends. I was always covering songs and playing the old ones I had written in 2015 and 2016. A lot has been going on in my life, and while COVID didn't exactly help, there were other reasons my mental health wasn't great in the last few years. Recently, however, a lot of things have changed. The biggest thing is this. I found out, or I have been diagnosed with ADHD. Or to be more specific, ADD, which basically means I'm not hyper, but my brain is kind of not very attentive. Big shocker there. Honestly, it didn't come as a big surprise to me. I always kind of thought that something was off with me. Like even back in school, I kind of assumed that I had Asperger's or something like that. Obviously, that's wrong. I don't have Asperger's, but I am not neurotypical, I'm neurodivergent. Now, what exactly does this mean for me personally, and why do I tell you about this, except for the fact that I really kind of want to talk into a camera right now? Well, in my experience, while ADHD manifests in children first and then changes symptoms over your lifetime and can, show up very differently between adults and children, I didn't know just how much of my life has been affected by this. About a year ago, someone told me, hey, I think you might have ADHD, and I was like, yep, I should probably get that checked out. And that person was right, as it turns out, because yeah, big time. Pretty severe, actually. And it manifests in very different ways throughout my everyday life, but the main obvious one being that I'm very unattentive, I get easily distracted, and I struggle really hard with sticking with stuff, like maybe running a YouTube channel, doing music, writing songs. All of that takes a lot of mental energy, which you don't really have if you need to put a lot of work into just working like a normal human being. I've struggled academically quite a bit. I'm not a bad student by any measure, but I'm just not doing as good as I should. This sounds like a humble brag, but it really isn't. I just know that I'm a pretty smart cookie, and I've struggled more than I should have, given what I assume is my intellect. But it's not just that, it's also like a lot of social things are influenced by this. People that have been friends with me for years know this by now, because they've never known me without ADHD. I don't have any friends from before I developed ADHD, because you develop it when you're a child, when you're like 8 or 9, I guess. Or I think I've been told. I don't remember. But basically, most people have already known me with adult ADHD, so they kind of learn to deal with these quirks. Although they do annoy me myself, because, for example, I hate the fact that I can't remember certain facts about friends of mine. I was hanging out with a friend a few weeks ago, and she told me something about her sister, and I said, I never knew you had a sister, and she probably has told me. But not only did I forget she has a sister, I forgot she has 2, and she has a brother as well. I forgot about the 3 siblings of someone I've been friends with for a year now. Stuff like this happens all the time. I forget birthdays, I forget dates, I forget important deadlines I should keep, which is not very good. I've struggled with remembering when I need to go to work and when I don't, and I just generally don't perceive time the same way people do. I don't recognize the fact that I've been talking for 5 minutes according to my camera, because I just don't notice it. That also leads to problems like interrupting people quite a lot, and generally having problems to wait my turn during conversations, because I feel like if I don't get the thoughts in my brain out immediately, they're gonna be gone forever. And that's true, because they don't stay there. The main problem that people with ADHD, if you don't know about that, this is a little excursus into how it manifests. The main problem we have is that our brains are built a little bit different to how neurotypical brains are built. And it's different for everyone with ADHD, but usually it just means your frontal lobe is kind of formed differently. So your executive functions, the stuff that do all these things like keep track of time, keep track of important things, like get stuff from the back of your head where your long-term memory is into your working memory, the stuff you kind of use in everyday life, that just doesn't really work. So you forget a lot about, like, a lot of stuff. You forget where you put your car keys, for example. That happens to me all the damn time. It also leads to more impulsive behavior. The other thing that's very different with us is that we don't produce a lot of dopamine. And that is really interesting because that means, because dopamine kind of regulates all the other enzymes in your brain, it means that you struggle with moderation in anything. It leads to very impulsive behavior, like making a video when you really should be preparing for the gig you play tomorrow, like I'm doing right now. And it also leads to impulse buys, which obviously doesn't really help financially. It leads to making rash decisions that sometimes hurt yourself or others, and even your friends. And stuff like that sucks because you literally have no real control over it. But you wanna, and it frustrates you, and it makes you feel like a failure sometimes. But now I've been diagnosed, and I get these little nice tablets, which is actually amphetamine. I get legal amphetamine, which is a weird thing to say. But the main thing it does is basically help me focus, stay more present, and have more energy, actually, or like more energy I can actually direct at stuff. So that's really nice. I only started doing the medicine a couple days ago, so we'll see how it goes. But so far it's going pretty well. And I'll also start therapy in the end of September, so that will be interesting as well. Another fun thing that comes with ADHD is the co-mortalities. I hope I pronounced that right. I always get that word wrong. And that means you basically get all kinds of trouble on top of the ADHD. One of which is, like, in 50% of people with ADHD, you get generalized anxiety disorder, which I also have. It's not exactly been fun, and I'm pretty sure it didn't actually develop because of the ADHD. I'm pretty sure I know when I developed GAS, and that was about like 2 years ago, and during COVID a lot of really bad stuff happened to me. But it means that I do suffer from anxiety. That sucks because it doesn't really help with things like this, where you have to put yourself out there, you have to kind of show a vulnerable side of yourself to potentially dozens, if not hundreds of people that are going to click on your videos. It's really painful, and it was something I was actually trying to kind of get at with the serotonin video last year. At that point, I didn't know I have ADHD, but I was pretty sure about the anxiety stuff, and pretty sure enough, I've been diagnosed with GAS just before I got diagnosed with ADHD as well. So, yeah. The good thing is that this has kind of forced me, this and other things happening in and around my life in the last few months, a lot of loss, like death in the family, and death in the families of friends that are really close to me as well. Like, a lot of loss has happened in the last few months, and it's been weighing on my mental health, obviously. So I've been actually kind of forced to take a step back from a lot of things I usually do and focus more on this. And this had a nice side effect, which is that I started writing again. I started writing both music and prose again, two things I loved to do when I was younger. And I kind of have to think about how sometimes being happy as an adult is just getting back to things you love when you're a child. And I've started really getting back into that, especially music, which is cool. I do plan on recording some of that music and putting it on YouTube. This time I hope it's not just a vague statement that I don't ever go through with. Like, the couple of times I've already had vlogs on this website, it was always like, oh, now I'm gonna do videos again, which I never did. Checks out for someone with ADHD, let's be honest. But actually I kind of hope that I can get back into this a bit more and show you what I've written in the last few weeks and months. So that's kind of what's been going on with me. And it's been interesting to make a video about it. I guess there's a certain kind of therapeutic approach to talking to a camera about your issues, I suppose. And I also just kind of wanted to do something. That's, I guess, the amphetamine's working. I also absolutely do realize that being a bisexual male with ADHD and a generalized anxiety disorder is not creative at all. But I'll promise I'll try to be less of a stereotype in the future. But yeah, that's basically it.